Welcome to the deep dive from NextMove by Solutto. Today, we're tackling something really crucial for modern businesses.
Yeah, choosing the right tech to automate things. It's a big decision.
Absolutely. We've got some great source material here, and we're going to dive deep into two specific technologies.
Odoo and AppSheet.
Exactly. Odoo, that kind of all-in-one ERP system, and AppSheet, the no-code, low-code platform.
Two very different approaches.
Totally. So our mission today is, well, to unpack these, get past the buzzwords, see what they really do best.
And maybe uncover a smarter way to think about them, right? Not just picking one.
Precisely. Because the sources suggest the real power might be in using them together.
And that perspective is really timely. Businesses need that solid core, that central data truth, but they also need to be fast, flexible, build things quickly for teams, especially those out in the field. Balancing that is tricky.
Okay, so let's start there. The core philosophies, they seem almost like polar opposites, don't they?
They really do. Odoo comes from this idea of a central nervous system for your company.
The system of record.
Yeah, exactly. Pulling everything essential, sales, finance, inventory, HR, manufacturing, all into one integrated platform.
The goal being no more data silos. Everyone working off the same information.
That's the dream. And the source material highlights its modular nature. It's open source too.
Which means you don't have to boil the ocean overnight.
Right. You can start with, say, just CRM and inventory, maybe finance, then add more pieces as you grow or your needs change.
And because they're all part of the same system.
The integration is just there. It's native, like the example in the source, log a sale in CRM.
And it automatically updates inventory, tells accounting, maybe even purchasing.
Exactly. It turns separate tasks into a single, smooth flow. Because the data is all in one place.
Okay, now AppSheet. Feels like it came from a totally different impulse.
It did. It's really born out of that whole no-code, low-code movement.
The frustration with how long traditional software development takes and how expensive it can be.
You got it. AppSheet's about democratizing that, letting the actual business users, the people who know the process inside out,
build their own apps without needing to be programmers.
Precisely. So AppSheet isn't trying to be the central hub for the entire company like Odoo.
Its purpose is more specific.
Much more focused, yeah. It's about enabling people to quickly create apps for very particular needs, often those last mile problems.
Look, things for people out in the field or on the factory floor, mobile stuff.
Exactly. That's a sweet spot. The source mentions a logistics manager quickly whipping up a delivery tracking app using just a spreadsheet.
Wow, okay. So you can move fast with it.
Extremely fast. So you see the contrast. Odoo, kind of top down, building that central integrated core for control and integrity.
And AppSheet, more bottom up, empowering individuals and teams for agility on specific tasks.
Right. But there's a catch with AppSheet too, the source points out. That empowerment is great, but without some oversight.
You could just end up with a million little apps and data all over the place again, like Spreadsheet Chaos version 2.0.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why platforms like AppSheet build in governance features so IT can still have visibility and control. It kind of hints right away that maybe you need both approaches.
Okay, let's zoom in on Odoo a bit more. What's under the hood, according to the sources?
Architecturally, it's what you'd expect from a serious enterprise system. Robust, designed to scale. It uses that standard 3-tier setup, presentation layer for the user interface, business logic layer for the rules, and the data layer.
And it uses common patterns like MVC.
Yeah, model view controller. For the tech stack, it's web standards like HTML, CSS, JavaScript for the front end, using their own framework called OWL.
OWL, okay.
The back-end logic is primarily Python, and importantly, it uses PostgreSQL for its database. It talks to the database using its own ORM, an object relational mapper.
Kind of like a translator between the code and the database.
Good way to put it. And there are those two main editions, right?
Yeah, community and enterprise.
Right. Community is the free open source one. Enterprise is licensed, adds more advanced features, official support, and includes Odoo Studio, their low-code customization tool.
But the real power seems to be that massive ecosystem of apps.
Oh, absolutely. That's Odoo's killer feature, really. Over 70 official apps, thousands more from the community. It covers virtually everything.
Sales, CRM, finance, inventory, manufacturing. The list goes on.
And again, because they're all built on that same core, the data just flows. You get that complete picture, those automated workflows become possible.
But it's not all smooth sailing. The sources, including user feedback, mention some real challenges with Odoo.
Definitely. While using Odoo day-to-day might feel intuitive,
getting it set up is the hard part.
that's often the case, yeah. Implementation can be complex. Migrating your data, configuring all the modules to perfectly match your unique processes, it takes expertise. Often, you really need an implementation partner.
And the user forum complaints back that up.
They do. It can be a significant hurdle. And deep customization beyond what Odoo Studio can do usually means needing Python skills.
So hidden costs could be a factor too, not just the license.
Oh yeah. Implementation partner fees, customization work, hosting costs, whether you use Odoo's cloud or self-host, it all adds up. And you can become quite dependent on that partner.
So it's less like buying software off the shelf and more like undertaking a strategic business project.
That's exactly the right way to think about it. You're building a core system. It needs planning, resources, and often expert help to succeed.
Who's it best suited for then?
It's pretty versatile, honestly. Any size business needing to integrate core processes. Manufacturing, retail, e-commerce, logistics, services, they're all big users. But because it's modular, you see it in construction, agriculture, even government.
That Toyota material handling case study in the source sounds impressive, using Odoo for a complex global operation.
It really is a powerful example. Their European division had a massive challenge. Restructuring distribution, unifying tons of different systems, handling highly customized products. Traditional ERPs were just too rigid.
They needed flexibility, kind of like their own Toyota way philosophy.
Exactly, and they chose Odoo precisely for that flexibility, its modularity, and frankly, lower investment risk compared to the big ERP names. They started with the core modules, sales, inventory, manufacturing, etc., built the foundation first.
And the results, did the source give specifics?
It did. Really significant numbers, 25% cut in production cycle time, 40% jump in labor productivity, 15% reduction in excess inventory supporting their just-in-time model, 30% better supply chain forecast accuracy, and over 70% of manual processes automated.
Wow, okay, that's serious ROI.
It proves Odoo can handle that level of complexity and deliver tangible benefits, even against the established giants.
Right, let's switch gears to AppSheet. Architecturally, how different is it?
Totally different paradigm. AppSheet's a cloud service, running on Google Cloud. But the absolute key thing the source stresses, AppSheet doesn't store your main data.
Okay, wait, so where is the data?
It stays where it already lives. In external sources, AppSheet connects to. That could be Google Sheets, Excel, Dropbox files, SQL databases, even Salesforce.
So the AppSheet app is like a window onto that data, a smart interface.
Exactly. It's a system of engagement, not the system of record. It sits on top of your data.
That explains why offline capability is such a big deal for it.
Crucial. It's built for mobile, for field workers.
Yeah.
The app caches data locally on the phone or tablet. So, no internet, no problem. You keep working.
And when you get back online?
It syncs automatically, sends the changes back to the original data source, the spreadsheet, the database, whatever. Vital for remote sites or places with bad signal.
And building the apps themselves, what are the core features?
Well, the main thing is no code development. It's all visual. Drag and drop setting rules. No programming needed.
Plus AI features, being Google.
Yeah, integrates with Google AI. Things like building app structures from plain English using Gemini, predictive models, smart suggestions while you build. It's also great for data capture using the phone's GPS, camera, drawing tools, barcode scanning, even OCR for reading text off images.
And automation.
Built-in bots for simple workflows.
Sure.
Sending emails, generating PDFs, notifications when data changes, things like that.
So, pulling from the source, what are the big pluses and minuses for AppSheet?
Strengths, speed,
Yep.
definitely. Build and deploy in hours or days. That's huge for agility.
Empowering those non-techie users.
Absolutely, the citizen developers, letting them solve their own problems quickly. It's brilliant for mobile and field use offline, rich data capture. And obviously, if you're already using Google Workspace, it fits right in.
Okay, and the downsides, the weaknesses.
Well, number one, you must have your data structured somewhere else first. AppSheet connects to data. It doesn't create the underlying database for you.
Got it. You need the data source ready to go.
Right. And design customization is limited. It uses templates and standard views. It's functional, fast, but maybe not the best for a highly polished, customer-facing app where brand image is critical.
What about handling lots of data?
It could get sluggish, the source notes. With really large data sets or super complex logic, performance can dip because, again, it's not the database engine itself. And while simple apps are easy,
getting fancy requires more thought.
yeah, mastering complex logic using its expression language, kind of like advanced spreadsheet formulas or intricate automations, that takes a certain mindset. You need to think logically, like a database person, even if you're not coding.
So AppSheet is really that satellite interface orbiting an existing data planet. You wouldn't run your core financials on it.
Exactly, which again shows they don't directly compete for that core ERP role. They solve different problems. Which leads us back to, how could they work together?
Before we get there, who's the ideal AppSheet user? What kind of tasks?
Ideal for departments, teams, even individuals needing to quickly digitize something specific, often something manual or spreadsheet-based, especially if mobile access is needed.
Like
Think field inspections, simple inventory checks, collecting data on site, tracking tasks, basic approval flows, things often on the edge of the main systems. AppSheet's own templates really focus on these areas.
And that Globe Telecom case study sounds like AppSheet used for exactly that, but on a massive scale.
It's a fantastic example. Huge company, 17,000 employees. Tons of inefficient internal processes that central IT just couldn't get to. They wanted to spark innovation from the ground up.
So they turned to AppSheet to create citizen developers.
Precisely. They ran a big internal hackathon, got Google's help with training, and encouraged employees to just build apps for their own daily pain points.
And the results were substantial.
Hugely. Almost 80% faster process response times. They calculated $6.7 million in savings in the first year, just from automating those little things. Grew from about 60 apps to over 350, trained hundreds of employees, many becoming active creators. They even spun up a crucial customer appointment app during the pandemic super quickly.
Wow. So it proves that decentralized citizen-led development can have a massive impact, especially on those non-core but time-consuming tasks.
Exactly. It empowers people to fix the problems they know best.
Okay, so let's try and compare them head to head, not just features, but the core ideas.
Right. Purpose. Odoo is the central system of record for complex end-to-end processes. AppSheet is for rapid deployment of apps for specific, often mobile use cases.
Data model. Odoo is the database, PostgreSQL, the single source of truth. AppSheet connects to external data sources. It's an interface.
Primary user. Odoo needs admins, developers, partners for setup and deep customization. AppSheet targets the citizen developer, the business user.
Development. Odoo uses Python and its low-code studio for core logic. AppSheet is purely no-code visual configuration for task apps.
Scalability. Odoo scales by adding integrated modules and functions. AppSheet scales by enabling more users to build more specific apps.
Speed. Odoo is slower to implement initially, but enables operational agility later. AppSheet offers extreme speed for deploying individual apps.
Complexity handling. Odoo is built for high interdepartmental complexity. AppSheet excels at low to medium task-specific complexity.
UI customization. Odoo's backend is highly customizable, but UI changes often need tech skills. AppSheet has limited, template-based UI design.
Data integrity. Odoo's is high by design. AppSheet depends entirely on the integrity of its connected source.
User empowerment. Odoo empowers through standardized workflows and central info. AppSheet empowers by letting users build their own tools. And the cost. TCO, total cost of ownership. It's never simple, is it?
Never just the sticker price. For Odoo, you've got licenses. For enterprise, per user, per app, yes. But the big costs are often implementation, the consulting, configuration, data migration. That can dwarf the license fees. Plus customization, hosting. It reflects investing in a central foundation.
Whereas AppSheet is more predictable.
Generally, yeah. It's usually a subscription per active user per month with different tiers. There's a free tier, too, for small tests. Its TCO reflects investing in decentralized, agile tool-building capacity.
So comparing TCO directly is kind of apples and oranges, as the source says. You're paying for fundamentally different capabilities. Odoo for the core engine, AppSheet for the distributed tools.
Exactly. It's about why you're spending the money.
Which brings us to the really fascinating part. If they're so different, is the best play actually using both?
That's the core argument from the source material, yeah. The whole Odoo versus AppSheet framing might be wrong. The smart strategy is often integration.
So Odoo doesn't get replaced, it gets extended.
Exactly. Think of Odoo as your system of record. Stable, secure, the single source of truth for your critical data customers, products, financials.
And AppSheet becomes
your system of engagement. The agile, user-friendly, often mobile interface that lets teams interact with that core data out where the work actually happens.
Why combine them? What's the big win?
Synergy. AppSheet brings Odoo's power out to the field, to mobile workers with easy-to-use offline apps.
Okay.
And crucially, AppSheet apps get a reliable, governed data source, Odoo, which stops you creating new silos. Field data flows right back into your core processes.
The source gave some practical examples of how that might look.
Yeah, several good ones. Field service. Odoo creates the work order. The tech sees it on an AppSheet app, maybe offline. They log hours, parts used, take photos, get a signature in the app.
And it syncs back to update Odoo for billing.
Exactly. Or mobile inventory. Odoo initiates a stock count. Warehouse staff use phones with an AppSheet app to scan barcodes, enter counts. That data flows back to OG for reconciliation.
Yeah.
Much faster, much more accurate. Or even lead capture at a trade show. Salesperson uses an AppSheet form. Maybe snaps a business card with OCR. Boom, new lead created instantly in Odoo CRM, triggering follow-ups.
Okay, that makes sense. How do you physically connect them, though? What methods does the source mention?
A few options, kind of scaling in complexity and power. Easiest is no-code connectors, think Zapier, tools like that.
Quick and easy for simple triggers.
Yeah, good for simple, if this, then that flows. Downside, can have delays, limited logic, costs can add up with volume.
Okay, what's next level up?
Things like data as a service platforms, see Data Connect Cloud as example. These make Odoo look like a standard database that AppSheet can talk to directly. More robust, better for querying data.
But adds another piece, another cost.
Right. And then the most powerful, most flexible option is direct API integration, using Odoo's API and AppSheet's API to build a custom connection.
Total control, real time, but needs developers.
Definitely. Requires significant development effort and ongoing maintenance. You choose based on your needs and resources.
And best practices for making it work.
Super important. First, be crystal clear. Odoo owns the master data, customers, products, financials. AppSheet reads that and writes back transactional data. Inspections done, time logged, signatures. But shouldn't be changing the master records directly.
Keep the roles clear.
Exactly. Clean up your data in Odoo before integrating. Garbage in, garbage out. Start small. Pick one high-value, low-risk integration first. Prove it works. And lockdown security, use proper authentication, respect access controls in both systems.
So the integration becomes a strategic roadmap in itself, which leads to the big question for you, the listener. How do you figure out the right path for your business? Starts with looking inward, right?
Absolutely. The source lays out key questions. Where's your biggest operational pain point? Is it tangled core processes or specific tasks at the edges? What's your data situation? Messy spreadsheets or already centralized? What are your IT resources like big team, rely on partners, or mainly business users driving tech?
And how do you plan to scale? Adding complex functions or empowering more people with specific tools? How vital is mobile field work?
Based on those answers, you can think about a starting point. For a startup small business, low complexity, maybe limited IT, AppSheet first often makes sense.
Odoo might be overkill initially.
Could be. AppSheet gives quick wins, digitizing things with simple tools like Google Sheets. First step, find one paper process, build one AppSheet app.
What about a growing SME? Complexity increasing, needs standardization.
Probably Odoo first, but plan for AppSheet later. The business needs that solid ERP core now. Focus on the Odoo implementation, get the foundation right. Then phase 2, bring in AppSheet for field data or specific teams.
Makes sense. Mature business already has an ERP, maybe Odoo, maybe something else, but has field blind spots.
Hybrid and synergy from the start. The core is handled. AppSheet extends that core's power. First step, identify an inefficient field task. Build an AppSheet app that connects directly to the existing ERP.
And a department in a large company. IT bottleneck, specific problem.
Tactical AppSheet deployment. They can't rip out the corporate ERP. AppSheet gives them an agile, governed solution for their problem. Work with IT, integrate via API if needed.
And whatever path you start on, think phases. Crawl, walk, run.
Exactly. Phase 1, crawl, quick win. One simple AppSheet app or one core Odoo module. Just demonstrate value, get people excited.
Phase 2, walk, expand. Connect that first AppSheet app better. Maybe integrate it simply. Or deploy more Odoo modules. Start basic AppSheet integrations with Odoo. Broaden adoption, start breaking silos.
Phase 3, run, the full vision. Odoo is the central nervous system, the single source of truth. Multiple AppSheet apps are the agile sensors and hands in the field, on the floor, connected robustly, maybe via APIs, feeding data back in real time.
So you operate like a well-structured but adaptable organism.
That's the goal. Robust core, agile edges. So, the big takeaway from this deep dive isn't really about picking Odoo or AppSheet. It's about understanding how to strategically weave them together.
Right, building an ecosystem that gives you both that central stability and the responsiveness you need out where the action is.
Exactly. Combining Odoo's strength in managing core complexity with AppSheet's power to quickly empower teams with specific tools.
It's not just theory, it's about how you can practically apply this to your business.
Enabling you to handle those complex core processes efficiently, while also giving your people on the ground the tools they need to be effective.
And figuring out that specific blend, that unique roadmap for your company, well, that's the crucial strategic step. The source material makes it clear that expert guidance can be really helpful here. So if you're thinking about these challenges, maybe optimizing Odoo, maybe empowering teams with AppSheet, or wondering about that integration piece, there are ways to explore this further.
Yeah, definitely.
We'd love to hear from you. Please leave comments below with your questions or experiences. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, that's NextMove by Solutto, for more discussions like this.
And check out the website too. You can learn more about how Odoo and AppSheet could work for you.
Absolutely. And you can actually schedule a free consultation with one of our experts, someone who really knows both Odoo and these no-code low tools like AppSheet.
Yeah, a chance to talk through your specific situation, see what might be the best strategic fit. So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. Look at your business. Where are those potential satellite apps waiting to be built? Those tools at the edge that could be feeding critical real-time data back to your core data planet, making everything smarter.
Powerful question. Thanks everyone for joining us on the deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.